Yeah, I don't really want to start any of it with you talking.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
No, we have to start it with your fade in.
Pretty
Again.
much, yeah, that's how I started. Because, why would I not? A fade in? Oh, it just shows how much effort I put in.
Yeah, it's probably like a click.
It's at least two. After a couple of minutes of confusion, the pioneers started to disperse.
You have to get ready, too. There'll be a lineup at the square in half an hour.
I looked straight into the eyes of the camp leader, trying to express my attitude non-verbally, but it seems that I failed.
Don't be late.
Flicked off my light. Lena was sitting at the table when I approached her on my way to the exit.
So why did you do it?
She looked very upset, but she had a right to be so. I wanted to, Alyana replied abruptly.
So you're happy now?
Of course I am.
Yeah,
And
that's the face
you.
of happiness.
Good luck with hiking. Okay, bye. She smiled mischievously, sprang up, and rushed out of the canteen.
Well, a little bit of luck wouldn't hurt.
Walk and you shall reach. Was exactly this
It
proverb
was.
that I kept whirling in my head all the way down to the camp leader's cabin. Somehow I just couldn't manage to argue, to pretend I'm sick, or just to skip it without a reason. The events of this day taught me submissiveness, although sometimes whatever was happening made no sense to me. As I walked in, I had a thought.
Well, in fact, how should I get ready? Clothes? I only have an overcoat and a pair of jeans. Anyway, I forgot to ask whether it's going to be an overnight hike or not.
I couldn't think of anything better, so I grabbed the sweater that I had on me when I arrived in the camp. The night might be fairly chilly, and shuffled slowly off to the square. All the camp was already there, although it was about 10 minutes before the time Olga Dmitrievna had designated. I settled down to the edge and waited patiently. Night was falling.
If viewed from the outside, what a fairly comical picture we would make. A crowd of pioneers lined up about out of the sheer habit like they were awaiting a silent command from the bronze Ginda. And all this happening in the scarlet rays of the sunset.
And there he is, waving his hand and screaming, "Attaku!" as roaring soldiers with red neckerchiefs charged into the battle against some ghostly enemy. But Olga Dmitrievna showed up and started talking instead of Genda.
It seems everybody is here. Great.
I was so tired today that I couldn't even think about anything, so I ended up just listening to the camp leader.
Now today, we'll go hiking. It is essential for every pioneer to be able to come and rescue his comrade, to offer a helping hand in their hour of need, saving them from a hopeless situation. We have to learn to do all these things together by hiking.
A whisper that ran through the pioneer crowd suggested that most probably this truly epic expedition would end in a clearing in the forest several hundred feet away from the square. Somehow, I thought so too.
We'll walk in pairs. So, if you haven't chosen a partner for yourself, now is the right time to do so.
Pioneers quickly caught onto the idea and started to match in pairs. Looked like I was the only one without a partner. Slavia was enthusiastically discussing something with Olga Dmitrievna. Lena was with Miku. Ezra was,
Ah,
of course, with Sharik.
Well, it might not be a bad idea to go alone after all.
Semyon,
The voice of the camp leader pulled me out of my thoughts. I went up to her reluctantly.
I see that you haven't found a partner.
Seems like it.
That's what I was. Then you'll join Xenia. She is alone too.
I was struck with that special kind of despair that only a true loner can experience. So it appears that I'm left with the prickly librarian that I wouldn't risk spending a couple of hours with even if I was paid for it.
Although we both seem to be in the same boat now.
I slowly approached Xenia.
Well, I guess we'll be going together.
She looked up at me,
Don't you even think that I'm glad?
said Zenyatta seriously.
Why on earth should why on earth you should feel glad.
I asked naively.
Never mind. It would be so much better if you just shut up.
Couldn't get any better than this.
She turned her back on me and followed the other pioneers. I still haven't seen any special reason to walk in pairs. Anyway, we're walking the not trotted, I don't know, forest trails, and it would be quite difficult to get lost here even if I wanted to. Moreover, while we'd already been hiking for half an hour, we weren't rushing into the depths of the forest trying to face all the dangers that could test our courage and harden our pioneer spirits, but instead we were just walking around in circles. However, if we take into account that Olga Dmitrievna was our chief, this hike could be compared to a hobbit's march from the Shire to Mordor. Just as Xenia insisted, I was following her at a distance in silence. The librarian seemed to be perfectly okay with it.
Hey, don't you know when we'll reach our destination?
Oh, what?
The place where we'll settle down and set up camp?
The whole point of this hike isn't to set up camp, but the hiking itself. You don't get it.
Yeah, it seemed that I didn't understand a thing about hiking.
I guess you're right, but still.
I don't know.
She replied sharply and quickened her pace. I caught up with her and asked.
Listen, why are you always so...
I was about to say mean, but stopped short.
I haven't done anything bad to you, and I'm not going to.
She glared at me in surprise.
Only so what?
Well, unsociable, kind of. Or is it something about me?
Oh, cut that stupidity out already.
That is an interesting. She's still got an eye looking at us. Her mouth is completely agape, and then she fogged up her other glasses, sadly, so she can't see out of that one. That's why she's so angry.
As you wish.
I decided not to start a conversation with her for the rest of the hike.
Thank you.
Oh. At last, Olga Dmitrievna decided to end this Sisyphean toil.
Google.
Sisyphean, but what's the
I'm
Y?
looking it up.
That means the Y is silent, so I pronounced it wrong. Sisyphean. Sisyphean. Pronounce it.
Sisyphean?
Sisyphean. Gotcha.
It's time to halt.
The place chosen turned out to be quite a large glade with a few tree trunks laid in a circle to make an improvised arbor with the remains of a campfire in the middle. Obviously, such hikes are a tradition of this camp. I was sent to gather firewood together with the other boys. It didn't take long because there were a lot of branches and logs of various sizes lying around. Eventually, Olga Dmitrievna lit the fire using some old newspapers. What? That doesn't... Newspapers don't just start fires. I was eager to know what was written there, but couldn't discern anything other than Soviet symbols. Pioneers took their places on the fallen logs and started to talk about things. It seemed that the final goal of this event had been achieved.
The only things missing were a pot of fish soup, aluminum cups of vodka, and a guitar.
Okay, I get the guitar. I don't know about the fish soup, the aluminum cups, and then also the vodka. But
Those
sure.
are camping things.
Aluminum cups?
Yeah, like you bring like aluminum and like
thermos?
an easy to pack. Well, it's easy to
It
make
could
a
just
cup out of
actually
aluminum.
be an aluminum cup.
It's weird.
I mean, it is the Soviet times, you know, because they were low on materials.
It's the Cold War. But I couldn't be surprised if if these would appear somehow.
What are you thinking about?
Slavia keeps talking to me.
Oh, nothing special. Just enjoying the hike.
I answered sarcastically.
You don't look too happy.
Well, I'm not about to jump for joy. Sorry about that.
Okay, I won't disturb you.
She sat with me for a while, but after realizing that I wasn't in the mood of talking, she left me to enjoy my introspection all alone. And all I wished for was to lie down in bed and fall asleep as soon as possible, but I was being surrounded by smoke and the useless chatter of pioneers around me instead. They were cheering and laughing in general enjoying this summer evening. In the far side of the glade, I noticed that Lena was arguing with Alisa intensely. And Lena seemed like complete opposites to me. Sylvia had left to go somewhere after our conversation, it seems. Ezreal and Sharik were trying furiously to improve something to Olga Dmitrievna. Looks like I'm not the only person who doesn't belong here.
No, you were the only person that doesn't belong.
Looks like I'm the only person who doesn't belong here. I mean, why would
Oh
we?
yeah, that.
Yeah, try and find out.
Is that even a contest?
No.
Only Lena and Alisa stood out among all this splendor. Well, of course, it was quite natural for Alisa to be arguing with someone like that, but hearing Lena talk in a raised voice, I came closer silently, trying to understand what was going on.
Oh, God.
Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
Like that little temple.
That's who we're banging.
No, you listen to me.
Think whatever you want. I've said everything.
It looks serious.
I tried as hard as I could not to attract any attention, and look, but like I'm just standing there with no intention of listening on them.
There's nothing to think about. Everything is as clear as day. Don't try to wind me about your little finger like that. I know you too
Wind.
well.
Wine.
Wind. Whatever.
No,
Wind,
no.
wind, whatever.
Why? Of course you know everything. Then why won't you tell him yourself?
Lena was getting angry. That alone was really weird, even considering that I didn't even know what they were talking about.
That's none of your business.
Eliza snorted, turned around, and her eyes met mine. A second later, Lena gave me a look as well. The girl stood there in confusion for some time.
You're eavesdropping?
No, just eavesdropping. Only one ear is used.
Me? Oh, no. I was just, like, passing by.
I put on the best smile I had, but it didn't seem to help much.
By the way, today he was peeping at me.
Eliza gave me a malicious smile. Lena looked at me questioningly.
First of all, why would she believe this devious fox's stories? I didn't peep. You know quite well that it was an accident. Ulyana should be the one to blame. Sure it was. Tell that to the cops. Seems like my excuse wasn't working. Did you like my boobs?
A shiver ran up my spine. Oh, they were awful. Oh,
Is that true?
Lena looked at me imploringly.
Well, you see, it was an accident. I didn't see anything there. You didn't? Well, I can show you again.
Eliza cried in anger. I didn't know what to say.
You see, I told you.
No.
Lena started to mumble and rushed away a moment later.
Wait, what happened?
I shouted after her.
You see what you did? That girl is upset now.
She gave me a spiteful smile.
First of all, it wasn't me who upset her. Second, I don't have any idea what you two were arguing about.
I was running out of patience.
Why should I tell you?
Seems like she thought that our talk was over and was about to leave. I grabbed her hand abruptly. Eliza Gillan. Oh my gosh!
Well,
Those eyes!
What is this art style?
Eliza
The
the one
glanced
on the right
inconsistent.
is off.
It's so inconsistent.
Eliza glanced at me in fear, but didn't say anything. I was angry at that moment. Really angry. First, I was wildly enraged that Lena was upset because of me, even though I was actually kinda guilty. Second, I was enraged by Eliza's insolence. Third, I was so tired that I was about to lose my temper at the smallest thing.
Happy now?
I hissed, pointing in the darkness where Lena had run off.
You only seem to have the guts to bomb memorials and hurt innocent girls.
She looked frightened, saddened, and confused at the same time.
She herself could hurt anyone. You just don't know her. The only truth here is that I don't know her too well, but I'm absolutely positive that she wouldn't hurt anyone. That's your job.
We stood in silence for some time. I held Eliza's hand and didn't know what to do next. The solution dawned upon me all by itself.
You have to go and apologize. Why the hell should I?
Eliza tried to act as arrogant as always, but it wasn't going to work this time.
'Cause I said so.
I refused to hear any objections and dragged her to the side of the bonfire.
Olga Dmitrievna, I'm sorry. We have some urgent business to deal with, so we have to leave early.
The guidance officer tried to object, but I didn't listen and headed after Lena, pulling Eliza along with me. After some time, I released her hand.
Any objections?
All the pride and arrogance had left Eliza's face long ago.
If you want me to come with you, I will, but I have nothing to apologize for. I told her the truth.
Why is she twitching?
She's shivering with fear.
Nah, it's just so cold. See? Look at her arms.
Oh, yeah. We'll see about that then.
I cut her short. We'd been walking in silence until we entered the camp. We came to the square and I asked Eliza.
Where do we go next? How should I know? And who said that they know Lena well? Was it me?
Eliza hesitated.
Well, she could be at the island.
How the crap would she have gotten there?
She often goes there when she wants to be alone. Excellent.
We headed to the pier. Night came down on the camp while I searched for paddles and pottered around with the ropes. One boat was actually missing.
Okay, today's your lucky day. You get to do several killer exercises that will build up your biceps, triceps, and other arm muscles.
I said sarcastically.
Are you serious?
Eliza cast a fearful glance at me.
That's very fearful. Very. Well, perhaps that was a little too rough. Even for her. Alright, I won't make you row, of course.
That hardly sounded confident. Swinging the paddles appeared to be much harder this time. Well, it's not surprising, considering that today I must have already filled with my annual rowing quota. I stopped in the middle of the river to catch my breath. Isn't that like the same
It's the
exact
same
position?
It's the same picture, but Lena isn't there. And it's also nighttime. Yeah.
So all they did was change the hair color of Slavia. Or not color, style.
Yeah, pretty much.
The camp was covered by night. A trivial and ordinary night. It was one of those nights when the dark sky, stars, and crescent moon don't make you feel anything special, and chirping crickets and twittering birds sound like they're doing a dull routine job, rather than performing an otherwise exciting nocturne. I was staring into the darkness, trying to make out the shadowy island.
How did you get to know her?
Eliza shivered a little.
We grew up together.
She answered slowly after some hesitation.
And ended up at the same pioneer camp. What a fabulous coincidence.
All these questions, mysteries, and fears that had been so well hidden so far suddenly spawned in my head.
Damn, I could just throw her out of the boat and drown her right here and now. I can demand answers. Although it could be dangerous unless I'm sure that I know what I'm doing.
This is messed up, man.
But still, I thought that this time I was playing with the white pieces so I could make the first move and not just parry the blows of the opponent.
So, what kind of camp is this?
Eliza stared at me blankly.
Where are we? Why am I here?
She kept silent.
Answer me.
I shouted.
Hey, what's wrong with you? If you want me to apologize to Lena, I will.
That's when I realized how stupid I was acting, to say the least.
She could simply be uninvolved in all that stuff. And what's more, one can't lie that convincingly.
Eliza's fearful expression was yet another reason to believe her.
Sorry.
That was all I was able to say at the moment. Yet I wanted to keep my advantage. The last few meters were really tough. Exhausted, I got out of the boat and lay on the cold ground. Eliza stood nearby, staring at me. I thought she was about to goad me or utter some barbed witticism, but since she remained silent, I assumed that she was still shocked or something. Even though it was rather dark here, it would be easier to hide in my old flat than on this tiny island. Furthermore, Lena must have already heard us as we were crossing the river, so by now it's already too late to ask Eliza any more questions, even though I still had some.
Listen,
I looked at her but saw nothing. It was a dark night and I didn't have cat's eyes.
well, when we find Lena, you're gonna tell her you never wanted to hurt her feelings and everything that happened in the morning was nothing but a misunderstanding, okay?
My voice didn't sounded as confident as it did a couple of minutes ago, but confident enough. Although Eliza said nothing, it was clear by the look on her face that she agreed. I thought we couldn't see her. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I stood up and went off to find Lena. Her boat was tied to a snag on the far side of the island.
That's very clever of her. One wouldn't see the boat from afar.
I mumbled.
Well, that means she's somewhere in the trees. Let's find her.
I headed into the grove, but Eliza stood still.
What's up? I thought we'd discussed everything already. It's not that. It's just that it's dark in there.
I had to strain my eyes to make out her face.
The grove is smaller than my grandmother's daisy garden. What's there to be afraid of?
Eliza didn't answer.
If you want to know what I'm thinking, I would gladly just leave you here. I never know what trick you're up to. Well,
She came very close to me.
let's go like this.
She took my hand. I hadn't expected this outcome. My cheeks turned red and hot, my breath was taken away, and I could barely say anything. The whole situation didn't favor conversation, which was probably for the best, since I doubt I'd be able to say anything smart.
Has his haircut always been like a bowl haircut looking thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because it almost looks like his eyes could be convincingly hidden by like the sheer amount of hair there.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be, yeah. But it still looks
Still
kinda
weird.
Slowly we headed into the grove. In a couple of moments, I regained some control of myself.
Come on, there's really nothing to be afraid of.
Gets attacked by a wild boar.
We came here during the day gathering some strawberries, no big deal. Just a normal birch grove. It's really nice here during the day.
I added after a short pause. Eliza didn't look at me. She was staring somewhere in the distance.
Well, it's up to you after all.
A few moments later, she pointed somewhere in front of us.
There she is.
I peered into the darkness, but could barely see anything. When we came closer, we saw Lena sitting beside a tree. She was crying.
Why have you come here?
She asked tearfully.
And you?
She looked at Eliza, but didn't finish the sentence. That moment, Eliza released my hand.
Well, you see, I just wanted to apologize for being somewhat harsh and rude.
Eliza interrupted me. Her voice had regained that usual arrogance of hers. Maybe it's just because she didn't want to look weak in front of Lena.
What a perfect apology. Not walking the walk, are you? How clever of you to insist that I'm doing a bad thing and then do that same thing yourself.
Lena switched to shouting uncontrollably.
You got it all wrong.
I get what I've said. See,
You see, girls, you're arguing again, and I seem to be somehow involved in all that, but I don't understand a thing.
explain it to them.
Why is she smiling now?
Is that even a
She's a
smile?
witch.
What is that?
She's a witch.
She is a scary whammon.
Eliza's less scary than her now.
Lena said to Eliza with a grin.
That is supposed to be a smile. There's nothing to explain.
Well, maybe you will let him have a try then.
Whatever.
She crossed her arms over her chest and turned away.
Well then, Simeon. She blamed me for pursuing you.
For a minute, there was complete silence. Lena didn't look like explaining any further, and as for me, I stood still trying to assemble the scattered pieces of the puzzle into a whole.
What do you mean?
Exactly what I said.
It's not like that. That's not what I meant.
Interrupted Alisa.
Of course.
Just crying again.
Sad.
You've always been like this.
Lena burst into tears again.
Wait, how come... So, Lena likes me?
Of course.
And you, what about you? You're trying to convince me that it's all wrong while you're holding his hand.
What, so Eliza likes me too? Oh, come on, Eliza actually liking someone? This can't be happening. It's just it was dark in here and...
It's so much like you. Always so arrogant, always trying to control others, but when it comes to yourself...
Alisa didn't answer. I really felt like I had to say something to defuse the situation.
Hey, wait. Perhaps we just got it all wrong. This has nothing to do with you.
Elisa's voice was oddly distant.
Judging by the conversation, this has everything to do with me.
Yes, it does. Ask her what she thinks of you, and why she told me not to go after you.
I don't think Lena was actually going for me. Or after me. I'm telling you once again,
We heard enough of your story already.
Lena shot up and ran away into the darkness. I stood nailed to the spot, not sure what to do next.
If I followed Lena now, what would I say when I found her? After all, I don't even understand what this is all about. My cluelessness and silly attempts to console her would only upset her more. Guess we'd better let her be alone for some time.
That didn't sound very confident.
Whatever.
Without another word, Alisa headed back to the boat. Blink. The whole way across the river to the pier was hell of a trip. I had to stop every 10 or 20 meters to take a break. Alisa was staring at the river and didn't pay any attention to me. Well, this seems to be the first situation here in the camp that is completely beyond my comprehension. Even though ultimately it was just a trivial, everyday situation. I wasn't this confused even during the all-night expedition to the old camp.
After all, if you have a closer look, there isn't anything strange here at all. Lena is a very shy and perhaps even introverted person, yet she's human and can't completely avoid normal human development. Considering that, her reaction fits the situation quite well.
Even if I don't get the source of the quarrel, it's clear as day that the girls would not behave like that if they didn't have a good reason. And as things were standing, I was that reason. That's the strangest part of the whole situation.
Hey, I'm sorry it went that way. If only I hadn't overheard your conversation.
Seems like I was feeling a pathological need to excuse myself.
It's not your fault at all.
She said absent-mindedly.
It's just that you appeared in the right place at the right time. Restarted a mechanism that stood still for a long time. I don't quite get that. Of course you don't. And actually you shouldn't right now. You'll get it later.
She cast an intense glance at me.
Damn it! Why does this always happen to me?
Both at school and college.
No,
College.
call Edge. Call Edge.
Trouble seems to have chosen me as its primary target. Someone blocked the classroom's door with a mop. I got a written reprimand in my bookmark. There was a fight. All things considered, I must have started it. Failed an exam? Well, of course it's my fault. The teacher who hates me has nothing to do with it. Even my parents always seem to prefer blaming me rather than unfavorable circumstances, a third party's involvement, or the decrees of Providence. At some point, I even started to believe that I somehow do attract trouble. Trouble. Remember Murphy's Law? In my case, it was like if something nasty is gonna happen, it's gonna happen to me. For that,
Trouble.
for that reason, I always tried to stay out of trouble where I could become the whipping boy. Well, judging by today, I'm not really good at it.
It seems like you've got an aura of some sort. You do attract attention.
Surprised, I looked at Eliza. She was smiling.
Looks like she can read my mind. Trouble, mostly. Who knows? Who knows?
She said dreamily and stared at the river.
It's a wonderful night, isn't it? Just like any other one, if you ask me.
I felt used up.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Just an ordinary night, nothing special. The best moment to make our most admiral camp leader really happy. She has to know that her favorite pioneer is a nasty pervert who enjoys picking at naked girls.
Something snapped inside of me again.
You aren't serious, are you? Why? Of course I'm serious.
She didn't look like she was joking at all.
Well, suit yourself, but do you really think this is the best time to do that? Aren't you supposed to row?
I realized that our boat was still drifting in the river.
Wait. Don't dodge my question. Let's get back to the camp. I'll have a moment to think it over.
Getting to spend an entire night in a boat wasn't something I would aspire to, so I had to apply myself to the paddles. We barely made it to the pier. I was exhausted, both because of rowing and because of Eliza's intent to tell Olga Dmitrievna about this morning's incident. If I know our camp leader well, her reaction will be quite predictable.
So, you're actually going to visit Olga Dmitrievna now, aren't you? Are you? Why not?
She gave me her most roguish smile.
It's night after all. She must be sleeping already. Who knows? She might well be awake. Come on, you know full well it was a coincidence. A simple misunderstanding triggered by Ulyana. No, I don't.
She flung her arms up and headed to the camp. I gathered all my remaining strength, jumped up, and followed her. At first, I considered grabbing her arm, but then realized that it might not be such a good idea after everything that had happened today.
Hold on.
I trudged unenergetically along next to her.
Let's talk this over. Is there anything to discuss?
We silently walked alongside each other for some time. At least she walked slowly so that I had no trouble keeping pace with her, and I was thankful for it.
Hey, is there anything I could do to convince you to not tell Olga Dmitrievna? Not sure, but, well, there is one thing.
We came to the square.
So what is it? Well, stop chasing Lena, for instance.
No deal.
For God's sakes, what makes her think I'm chasing Lena?
We are.
The fact that we are.
I started to lose my temper.
Why are you making up such nonsense? You started that quarrel in the forest because of you. We had to go to that island, and here we go again. Enough is enough. I'm not chasing her.
Yes, we are.
Eliza stood
Oh
still.
God!
Her eyes
Demonic
turned red.
She's about to kill us. Oh, I didn't mean to do
She's a
that.
demon. Yeah.
Man, I don't know how
Let's
to
go
go.
back.
Hold on. Shut up, idiot. What? Okay. Eliza stood still, bright moonshine lighting up her face, which showed evident signs of resentment and displeasure.
Like I don't see how you look at her.
How do I go back?
Just click off of it.
How do I look at her? Like that. Like what? You know.
Aw, she's blushing now. She shifted her gaze, but remained standing still.
Hey, stop seeing everyone through your twisted imagination. If you can't stop making up nonsense stories, then at least keep them to yourself. Don't make others suffer because of you and your stories. I don't care if you pick on me, but now you got Lena involved.
I really lost my temper for good, but Eliza didn't answer. We sank into an unexpected silence that was only broken by Eliza's sparse sobs.
From bad to worse, now you're crying. Have you all gone mad here?
I clasped my hands in despair. I could only understand why Lena was crying, but seeing Eliza crying is unthinkable to say the least. I can't even see her reasoning. At any other time, I'd be definitely be. I would either be shocked, but at this moment, I'm just too tired for that. My mind was absolutely blank. To be precise, it was so heavy and full, so that not even a single idea would have the chance to dwell there. If I would compare my brain at its prime to a broad highway full of speeding thoughts overtaking each other and causing gigantic chaotic crashes, then now it's nothing but a forgotten tiny path in a distant desolate forest which is only used in times of absolute necessity. Eliza kept silent, and at least she stopped crying.
If you really think it's so serious, go ahead and tell everything to Olga Dmitrievna. I hope it makes you feel better. Okay, I won't do it.
She said quietly and turned to me. The tears were all gone, but her face seemed to express absolute sorrow at the world.
I'm just feeling hurt.
And apparently angry.
What hurt you?
I asked her tiredly.
It's always like that. She gets all the attention and always pushes me aside.
I had difficulty understanding what she was talking about and decided to play along.
Hopefully she'd finally leave me alone. That's not true. You do draw attention and people don't overlook you. I don't.
I raised my eyes and looked at her. Her facial expression was a mixture of amazement and expectation.
See? So you...
Oh god.
That's the most
Oh, wow.
that's the most anime thing the show has done so far.
Could you...
All of a sudden, her voice became so tender that I flinched in astonishment. Eliza's face turned red and she hid her eyes.
It's just the lips are like really detailed
Yeah,
all of a sudden. It's, yeah.
Uh,
So... You really think that I'm as good as her?
I wanted to say something like even better, but stopped myself.
Yes, I do.
Seems like she didn't understand that I said it all absolutely and sincerely.
Alright, time to sleep.
Eliza suddenly yelled cheerfully. Now she was acting more like herself again.
See you tomorrow.
Bye!